This is Lewis up for Boxing Social in association with Empire Fights on Arkins Competitions. Delighted to be joined with Stephen Smith on a nice Sunday evening or Sunday night, I should say. Yeah, the week's coming to a close. Christmas is about 10 days away now. Yeah, how's things, mate? How are you?
Oh, good, mate. Really good. Looking forward to Christmas. Looking forward to a bit of family time, and then an exciting 2025.
Definitely, yeah. I guess just sort of touching on that now, looking back on 2024 for yourself, I guess as a trainer, you could probably say it's a quite a big year for yourself. So looking back on it, yeah, how do you look back on 2024? I guess from a training and managerial side.
It'll always be a special year for myself. It was the year I started off. My first corner, my first sort of training assignments, me, becoming a pro coach. So very successful first year for myself. The stable I'm sort of putting together is um is a great start for any coach. Anyone would be privileged to train the people I'm lucky enough to train. So a successful first year, definitely, and probably one that a first year that most coaches don't get. The winning European titles and stuff like that. I don't think that happens to many people as early as it did for me. So very blessed, very grateful, but ultimately, willing to keep putting the hard work in just to get better results.
Mhm. Definitely, and that's one thing I think as the years gone on, you've obviously added to your stable, and it started off obviously Liv Hussey, Steve Clark, and Charlie Edwards sort of kicked off 2024 for yourself, but sort of adding that with Hamzoudine, obviously doing Callum's corner as well, and Keeman Agyarko as well. So it's been good to add to the stable as well. I don't think I missed anyone out. I'm not sure.
No, yeah, I'll be dead honest with you. When I first I've always thought I'd be a coach, but wasn't really. I was the right thing. Like put me name out there and stuff. I was just quietly sort of enjoying my family and getting over basically that I don't box no more. I think I still miss the sport now, but knew it coaching would be for me. A lot of people talk about me boxing brain and got a good understanding of the game, and I thought coaching would suit me, but wasn't really ever sure when to make the jump. And I know Steve Clark and the family really well, and it was a case of he was like, "Look, I'm going to turn over. Would I be his coach?" And I was like, "Well, you know what? Now's as good a time as any." And made the jump. Obviously, he turned pro in January, and it's just been all systems go since then.
Mhm. Yeah, as you say there, sort of, are you enjoying the process of being a coach? Like as you say, you've got young fighters like Steve and Hamza as well who are still learning, but do you still feel like in yourself, there's still a lot of like you say, you're still learning as a coach as yourself.
Yeah,
Do you feel?
definitely, mate. Yeah, and that's what I was going to touch on there with the dimension. Like the fact that my phone was going, I was getting asked a lot. Early days, I'd be getting messages like about coaching people, and I was very flattered, but obviously quite surprised because people hadn't seen my work, hadn't worked with me, and hadn't seen me in the corner yet to get that sort of justification that yeah, he's good and he knows what he's talking about. Because I'm now looking to obviously paying more attention to coaching, and I'm seeing things what other coaches are doing and saying, and I'll agree with some of it. I'll be like, oh, I didn't see that, and I find myself sort of not judging overly, but I'm watching coaches now and I'm seeing what they're seeing, and I'm wondering whether I agree with it or not. But when I was getting obviously asked earlier, I think it was down to obviously like my name and me boxing background, which is again flattering. But I'm hoping over the next few years to show with the improvements in my fighters that I am a good coach, because I believe that's the best way of showing it at the end of the day. Whatever name you've got or haven't got, I think if people see your fighters improving and coming on a bomb, then I think they'll know that the input from the coaches is testament to that.
Mhm. Absolutely. And I did want to quickly move and I guess talk about one of your fighters, Charlie Edwards. Just had a
Yeah,
fight announced, yeah, against Andrew Cain. I guess for yourself a little bit of a local derby, two Liverpool gyms going at it, but yeah, massive fight for March 15th. I guess what 4 months away now. So yeah, big one in a couple months' time.
yeah. Listen, great fight. Stylistically, it's a great matchup. Um, and for me as a coach, it's very good for me knowing that basically I know Charlie had four offers on the table, all different routes. One was European defence, one was a final eliminator. He had other options on the table, and the Andrew Cain fight come about, and he said, "I want that one." and he's jumped out. So for me as a coach, that's a very good sign for me, knowing how confident my fighter is going into it. And, you know, I know also, what a good fight that is for him. He's craved that sort of domestic, all British fight for a while. People seen how much he was trying to chase the Cagliari fight, and then the Butler one come about, and he wanted that one all the same. And the fact that it didn't happen, I think it's sort of been a sort of a thing that he hasn't he's never had that rival. Do you know what I mean? He's wanted it's an itch he needs to scratch, and he's got it now in a good fight. And Andrew Cain, listen, I've watched him now, and obviously been watching him, and I think he's very aggressive. He can obviously punch, but for me, from my setup to looking of ways to beat him, I don't think the blueprint's that hard to find. I think if you look at it, you can see what he's about. He can use his, he uses aggression. He tries to be, aggressive and sort of be the bully in there a lot of times. But I know he said his arm went and stuff, but the first person that took what he had and hit him back ultimately beat him. So I think he's shown his own flaws, and it's given us enough to go away and work on. And it's an exciting fight to look forward to, especially being in Liverpool.
It's interesting, one thing you mentioned there about it being the big domestic fight. And I think when I first heard about the fight, WhatsApp Charlie, and he said to me, he's like, finally, I've got that domestic fight. And I think, as you say, how big is that for him? Because it's something you've been chasing for so long. If it wasn't your fight with Butler or any other bantamweight, that makes it extra special for him, I guess.
Yeah, and I think, again, listen, it's a personal goal for him that's ticked off. It's something what he craved and he wanted. And again, as I said, I know for a fact that he had other offers on the table and he's jumped at this one, and that's testament to how much he wants this sort of the British dust up. So he's got what he wants, he's got what he's asked for, and I'm excited about it. I think it's a good fight on paper. There's a lot of people that are going to be very respectful of Andrew Cain, and it's one of them fights where suddenly you're getting people picking you to lose, people picking you to win. A lot of people will go with Charlie's experience and his skill set, and a lot of people will go with Cain's sort of youth and power. So they're the best fights to be involved in. I've seen it before with, like, I know it was an all Liverpool derby when Callum boxed Rocky, and I remember people sort of, I think Rocky beats him all. And I remember being a bit surprised and thinking, like, I didn't see it that way, obviously. Do you know what I mean? I always thought it was a comfortable enough win for
even
Callum.
the Fowler fight as well. The Fowler fight as well.
No disrespect to Callum. And again, going into Liam and Fowler, again, ultimately, I just thought, I didn't see how they lost it. I thought they would do it ahead of it. But when you're seeing people pick against them, it's like, oh, okay. And you start to wonder, you start to look for the other angle and thinking, how are they seeing that? But at the end of the day, when you come through them and both of them were successful in them fights, I've seen also what respect and credit comes with it. You don't get them. So when you have them fights and you beat the sort of foreign opponents, although people in boxing know sometimes it's a good win, in general, people are like, oh yeah, we knew you'd win type of thing. And I think when people pick against you, then they sort of start giving you respect and credit for the win. So if people are picking Charlie to lose and then he goes out and performs and wins as well as what we think he's going to, then I think then people will sit up and say, you know what, good win, well done, didn't expect it or whatever, but as long as he gets the credit for it.
That's one thing I wanted to ask you as well. And probably, you've been in high pressure situations in corners, whether it be your brothers or even with Charlie in the Asomba fight. But now where it's, there is probably jeopardy in this fight for Charlie. I know, you're not in there fighting him, but do you feel like you have something to prove as well, to know that, like, as a fighter in the biggest fight, that you can deliver as a trainer?
Yeah, definitely. Listen, this will be his third fight with me now, and listen, his first fight back was a Joe Geordie was no mug. He was a good fighter, southpaw, former European champion, and it was one of them where Charlie's at the time out the ring. Charlie had been in a bad place, and it was a case of getting him back and getting him back to winning ways and getting him back to being as good as I know he can be. So that was a big question and a big ask, and then he goes in, for the European title second time round. Again, listening with a good champion, and we had the southpaw stance. Son was known he can switch and stuff, and it was a case of like solving another problem in front of us. He also had all the former gym stuff there, and people in the corner. His brother was the manager of the other fighting and stuff, and there was a lot going on. And again, I had to sort of, keep him on the right page, keep him on track, and possibly answer a few questions. Look, it's about Charlie performing, and the same goes in this fight. It's not about me, but what I bring to the table, and I'm very confident I'm going to bring all the help and tactical advice I can give him, and all the help and tactical advice he needs. I can study a fight and read a fight, and sort of know with my own experience as well the situations that I've been in, and with myself and my brothers, I know how to sort of handle them type of situations well. The hostile environment, whether it be in with an aggressive puncher or whatever, how to tactically sort of set up. I'm ready for it all, really. And again, it's just about Charlie's performance, and I think when they see how well he prepares for this fight, it makes my job a lot easier.
Quickly moving on, did want to ask you about Global Fighters Union. I know I spoke to your brother Paul about it a couple of days ago, but yeah, I guess I don't know if you had anything more to sort of add to I guess what's being done there. Obviously, with your brother, yourself, you're a part of it as well. So yeah, I didn't know if sort of what you care to add.
Yeah, no, just I think it's an exciting sort of setup and sort of bit of cover for the fighters. I think if at the end of the day, if fighters are getting looked after properly, then it's good for boxing, in my opinion. I think any fighter that gets in there and puts his health, his career on the line, and goes into do the sport we all love, then the least they deserve is looking after. So as long as everyone gets what they're worth, and gets their own careers looked after and health looked after, more importantly, then it's a good thing, and we can sort of stamp out any of the wrongdoings what go on in boxing. Look, I've been a fighter and now a coach, and there's a lot of good people in boxing. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying for 1 minute all promoters are trying to rip you off, or managers are trying to rip you off, or all hand rappers are trying to cheat. I'm not saying that for 1 minute, but there's some things that go on in boxing where the boxer doesn't really get the best end of the stick, and I think that's wrong. I think the boxer should always get what he deserves, and we're asking for everything. We're just asking for what's fair, and I think that'll help them out.
How important do you think it is, especially based off own experience, of whether you would have had managerial or promotional disagreements like yourself and your brothers, to use that experience to then, I guess, sort of give back and help people that don't go through the same things that you went through?
Yeah, listen, we've all had a different sort of situations and scenarios, which possibly we could have, with a bit of better advice, not gone into them situations. But a few of us have had court cases and stuff, so we've all got all the experience needed to help put the fighters out. But again, look, I'm not trying to point fingers and say that promoters are trying to rip them off. I'm just saying that look, we can make sure that they don't make similar mistakes to what we made, and they can get looked after and make sure they go into things with their eyes open rather than not knowing what mistakes they're making. They can have someone experienced behind it just to cover the back, really.
Absolutely. Have to ask you about your brother Callum. Obviously, in a massive fight in February 22nd. A couple months away now against Joshua Buatsi. I guess how excited are you to see Callum back in a massive fight with big implications?
Yeah, massively. Listen, while he was here, he was in the gym. He was training with me and stuff, and myself and John Gillies as well does a good bit with Callum while he's here, and just helping him out, really. He lives a good life. He's a proper pro. He's always in the gym, and that's why when the Buatsi fight got mentioned, he was like, "Yeah, no problem, get me out." And he said, "We've only got a bill in 2 weeks." He was like, "Not a problem, get me on in 2 weeks." And people were a bit like, "You're fighting on 2 weeks' notice," but that's the type of pro he is. 2 weeks, not a problem. Jumps in, gets a good 5 rounds under his belt, gets another win, and now we'll bounce straight into the Buatsi fight in a good place. He's put the loss behind him, and he's ready to go again and show what he's about and show how good he is. And the top two are fighting on the same night, which is a good thing, really. You can be there and see that. And if the fight goes one way or another, then it looks like the belts could possibly be fragmented and become available. And if Callum has gone and won the WBO interim on the night, then he could become a 2-way world champion.
I guess I wanted to ask you, and speaking to Paul about the fight, and he said, he always felt when it comes to domestically, Callum was a little bit disrespected. Like there was a lot of people talking about Buatsi and Yard being the number one. Like, do you feel like this is a big fight for Callum to prove? Look, no, domestically, light heavyweight's a stacked division, but to prove that
Yeah.
he's the best on a world level as well when it comes to the UK light heavies.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, I think that the Buatsi Yardi was sort of spoke about a lot because of the London rivalry and they know each other so well and stuff. Which is again, listen, it's one of them. I'd like to have seen the fight myself. Now that Callum's fighting Buatsi, obviously I hope it never
Yeah,
happens. Because hope Callum flattens Buatsi and that's
yeah,
that done. But yeah, listen, we all like the local, domestic sort of dust up. So two London lads fighting each other at sort of world level would have been good to see. But when you are mentioning the light heavies sort of on you know the domestic scene, and Callum's name has got to be right up there. And again, in my opinion, and often be biased, but he's the best of a lot of them, and I think he's got a great sort of platform to go and show that now. I think it's a massive bill. It's probably the best bill I think there's been in boxing. It's an unbelievable bill, and we can go in there and prove a point really, and go in there do a job on Joshua Buatsi, a good fighter, an Olympic medalist, turned pro. He's done all that's asked of him in professional boxing, and he's had a great career himself. But ultimately, I just think the stylistic way they match up. I think it's a good night for Callum.
for yourself being close to Callum, what was it like for him to get that hunger back? As you say, after the Serbia fight, probably, speaking to him, he said, there was probably definite thoughts of retirement because all he really wanted to do was be a two-way world champion. So I guess what was it like for him now to get that hunger back and realize, I want to give it another roll of the dice?
Yeah, listen, he had a break. He had a bit of time out. He had a bit of time with his family. And I think it's in the downtime when you realise, is this me forever? Or is there another go in me yet? And I think he had his rest. As I say, listen, he's a consummate professional. He's in the gym all the time. He lives in the gym. So when he had time away and had a break from it, I think he reassessed. He had a look about the division and thought, you know what, I've got a lot more to give. When he's seeing, even possibly like, the likes of the names we just mentioned then, like Buatsi and Yardi, and Buatsi's fighting for interim titles and stuff and could be made world champion. He's probably sitting there and thinking, well, I can definitely beat all them. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's now or never type of thing. I think he's also, let's not forget, he's also got elder brothers who've passed the point of no return, now retired, and we're sitting here now. I'd love to be able to be young enough to still have another go in boxing. As I said at the start, I miss the sport like mad, and I'm probably doing the nearest thing that is to boxing, which is coaching, but it's not the same. And anyone who says it is lying. It's not the same. It's different. It's again possibly as near as you can get, but it's definitely not the same. It's that buzz of ring walks and the nerves of being on the edge of range and slipping shots and throwing, and then ultimately obviously getting your hand raised at the end. It's just there's nothing like it, and I don't think there ever will be. So I think while he's young enough and good enough, he's thought, you know what, I've still got a title in me, and he's back in now, and he's ready to go and prove his points. He's got in 10 weeks till the date, so a good camp. He'll put his time in, he'll put his preparation in, he'll prepare properly as he always does, and he'll go in there with the right game plan to go and take Joshua Buatsi out.
For yourself, you trained Callum, obviously, you looked after him for the comeback fight. Is that something that's permanent, or would he be going back to Buddy McGirt?
No, Callum. As I said, listen, I just said then it was just a phone call. He ticks over with me while he's here, and
Yeah.
he comes into four corners with myself and with John Gillies, and we do bits with him. We've done days when we've alternated on pads and stuff, and we just helping him tick over while he's here. And it was a case of, look, I've got 2 weeks, so it wasn't really something where like I think Buddy's in camp with Dillian, wasn't he? And it wasn't going to really try and get him over for a 2 week job against someone who, no disrespect to the kid, but Callum's expected to go out there and do a job on. So it was one of them. Look, I'll get this fight done. Will you do me corner, and then we'll move on, and I'll go. We'll sort it out for the next fight with Buatsi, and he'll have Buddy over, and I'll still be helping out with Buddy. I'll still be doing bits with Callum and helping with them both, but with Buddy McGuire's his trainer.
You mentioned there about obviously what yourself and your brothers have done. I do have to ask about your nephew. I see him win a national title
Yeah.
a couple of weeks ago. I spoke to Paul and sort of having that conversation of him sort of being the next generation coming through, and Paul's doesn't want to put that pressure on him, but I guess is it exciting to potentially see like another Smith coming through.
Yeah, listen, it's different. It's different, as you say. It's the next generation, and I do a lot of work with little Paul, and he comes in, and a part of my help him. I think I've got a good eye to sort of see the little technical faults what he's doing and try and correct him. And I try and help him when he's got fights in the championships. He'd always send me a little video of his opponents, and I tell him what I thought and how to best go about it and stuff. And just trying to be an uncle, almost godfather. I want to do all I can for him and help him all I can. But he's a good kid. He's a lovely kid, and he's keen to learn. He's keen to improve. And if his aspirations is go on and be the next Smith, and he wants to forge a career in boxing and turn pro, then he's doing the right things to go about doing it. I've always said not only about Paul but about other fighters. There's fighters that think that because you put the gloves on, you're destined to be a pro. And in my opinion, you've got to go and earn the right to be a pro. You've got to turn pro with something to turn pro. But you've got to be a champion, and you've got to bring something to the table for promoters to want to sign you. And he's now a national champion, and he's doing that. He's doing it the right way. He's now forging his own career to basically say, look, I'm Paul Smith, and I'm national champion, and hopefully it's X amount of national titles, and I'm ready to go pro and make a career of it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting you say it there because I'm sure Paul feels like he has to earn, like he says feels like he has to earn the right, because you see with not in a disrespect, but you see many sons that come through and sort of have things cherry picked, but for yourself it feels like he wants to do it the natural way and have that sort of that experience under him.
Yeah, you can't just, in my opinion, you can't just turn pro and expect to be sort of given respect just because of your name, and we've seen it, sadly with other fighters where, by the way, the ones in questions, really, really like big shoes to fill in terms of like, Eubank and Ben and and I felt, and I feel for the lads, Campbell Hatton's a diamond, but he's, his dad Ricky Hatton was a British great. He was an absolute, loved him, loved watching him. Taking thousands and thousands to Vegas, fighting Mayweather, Pacquiao. He was a really, really top of the top British fighter. And, fortunately for Campbell, he's always going to get compared to him, and it's like it's too big a shoes to fill for the majority of boxers. You know what I mean? So I always felt for Campbell in that way, and I do think that's sort of what you've got to live with when you're turning pro with a name. And I think, listen, I'm not saying any of us by any means are Ricky Hatton, but any of our sons turn pro, then it's going to be the same boat. It's going to be like, comparing to your dad type of thing. So it's not nice, and I don't like the pressure. I don't like comparing. Yeah. But I think, look, he's going about it the right way. He's in the gym all the time. He's trying to learn. I get a text off him, can I come in with you? And he's doing bits with me, and then he's going. He's in the return of the night. All great lads, great coaches. He's learning the trade the right way. So if he does now, ends up turning pro and hopefully has a successful career, then we'll know he's earned it the right way. He's done it with the pressure on his shoulders, and he's gone and done it properly.
100%, absolutely. And a final question from myself, and I guess final topic I did want to get your thoughts on, being a scouser. I did have to ask you about Tommy Fury and Darren Till. Obviously, looks like the fight's not happening no more. I spoke to you, obviously, Paul, about it, and he said about the sort of ridiculousness of it. But I guess what was your thoughts on that whole situation of Fury pulling out a fight of scared to get head kicked, I guess?
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's more to it myself. Personally, it doesn't add up to me, because I think I've seen Liam say something similar in terms of, if that's the case, if Tommy Fury's saying, do you know what, he's saying he's going to kick me, he's not going to stick to boxing rules, I want to fight a boxer, then he'd say, I'm not fighting Darren, get Darren gone, go and get me another opponent. Let's have it right. Tommy Fury, he's beat Jake Paul, he's beat KSI, he's been on YouTube, and Love Island and all that. He's the biggest name. He's the name. He's the man. He's the ticket seller and all that. Then the show would be about him, and he'd say, "Look, Darren, the fight's not happening. On you go," and they get him another opponent. Yeah. But that's not happening. Darren Till is still fighting. Tommy's not. Tommy's looking for dates in February and stuff. So I think it's Tommy that maybe couldn't make that date for one reason or another. In my opinion, again, it just didn't add up. For him to pull out and then say, I'm going to wait and want to look for dates in February or the end or something like that, it was a bit like, why do you need extra time, or what's that? It's not like you've said, Darren, you're not fighting. I'll fight someone else. He's pulled off the bill, so Darren's still training for a fight, but Tommy's not. So I don't know, mate. It just didn't add up to me. I don't know. Again, I'm making accusations, but something didn't sit right with me when it come out. Again, it's strange to pull out of a fight because of something that someone said. Things that get said in press conferences, you can't believe everything anyway. Do you know what I mean? And look, I think a little bit of something cheap with Darren, but if he wants to pull out because of that, then pull out, but pull off the show and then let him still stay on the show. It didn't make sense to me. It just didn't sit right, but we may find something out down the line. We might not. I don't know.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Stephen, mate, just want to say thank you for taking time to speak to me. Really, really appreciate catching up. And yeah, all the best. Enjoy the Christmas, mate. Enjoy the start of 25 and the end of the year, mate. Top man. Thanks for that.
Yeah, we'll do, mate. As I said, I think I've got a good start. One penciled in to start here. I think Hamza's messaged me saying he's fighting for Jan. So I'm in over Christmas anyway. I think I'm going to be in with the lads anyway and live and keep them improving. But I think we'll start 2025 with a bang with Hamza, and Charlie's already penciled in as well. Looking forward to it, mate.
Definitely, mate. No rest for the wicked, mate. Appreciate the time, man. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, mate.